Hello, and welcome back to my podcast, YouTube channel, Substack, Transparent Conversations, Elevated Exchanges, where I get to talk about whatever I want to talk about. My name is Calvin, or CPJR, or CPJR 300, if you know me. Welcome back. So we're going to get started. Right now, this used to be a space that I talk about fun things like ethical non-monogamy, polyamory, swinging, relationships. But ever since the current president was elected to office, I immediately pivoted over to politics and the state of our country, because I think that's more important, and it's basically the always on my mind. So I decided to go ahead and talk about it, talk about the issues that are coming out, because the times are unprecedented. We're seeing things that we've never seen before. Last week, I believe. Oh, okay. So what I'm doing basically is I write an essay. It's posted on Substack. Posted on Substack maybe every couple of days, and then I'll come on and I'll do I guess I'll do an episode about it, and I'll talk about whatever it was I wrote about. Last week I came on and I talked about what's that? Oh, voting against your best interests. And I said, why would anyone vote against their best interest? I talked about how Maga became Maga, how I believe that the first time most of us heard about Maga was when Hillary Clinton called them the deplorables back in 2016, I believe. And that pretty much cost her the election. She wasn't wrong. It just was never coined, or maybe it was coined, the term was coined, but it was never talked about. But the current president, Trump, saw that, seized on that. He's not an intellectual either, but he is a billionaire, and he immediately bonded with them and became their leader and started doing those rallies, and those rallies, they just became a unit. Maga. Maga was born. Like I said before, they had a hat, they had a t-shirt, they had a uniform, they had handshakes, and it's been a rough 11 years since that time. 11 years? Maybe 11 years. 10 years? Yeah. About 10 years. Yeah, about 10 years, I think. So, yeah, since 2016. 10 years. And we have about, hopefully, we don't have, till 2028. Hopefully, we'll get it done in 2026. We can get them in peace and get them out of here. But that's basically what I talked about, how the people of Maga decided that he was the best spokesman for them, a man who has never lived like them, doesn't understand how they live, who has no respect for them, and pretty much just lies to them all the time. I don't really see. One thing I was thinking about is I haven't seen a happy Maga. I've seen a Maga person. They're happiest when they're together in their little rallies, and then they're happy when they see our secret police, the regime's secret police. That's what I'm calling ICE from now on. The regime's secret police. They're happy when they see the secret police beat somebody up or shoot somebody, or have a poor defenseless woman, an immigrant, undocumented immigrant on the ground crying. They seem to really love that. They really love seeing people going through distress and pain. That makes them happy. I don't really know how that happened or why that is. Because basically, well, I'm tell you this. I don't really know anybody in Maga. I don't have them in my family. I think I had one black friend who actually did convert over to Maga, and as soon as I found out, I blocked them. So I don't really have any time for that. Basically, I think if you're a black person trying to identify as Maga, you see some kind of benefit for you. You don't really see a benefit for your people. You see a benefit for yourself, it's not a lot of black people over there, so you decide to go over there and try to get get some treats, some goodies from your handlers. I think Vivek, what's his name? Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't know, the guy who was the Indian guy who decided he wanted to run. He's a billionaire. He decided he wanted to run and be a MAGA, and they just basically, I think he was running in South Carolina or Ohio, something like that. But they rejected him because he's Indian. They don't like us. They don't like colored people. They don't like foreigners. So when you try to put yourself in their shoes and go put yourself on their team and expect them to actually identify with you, it doesn't work. They may if like somebody like Trump brings you in, or Vance or somebody brings you in, they'll be nice to you while they're around him. But once you try to strike out on your own, run for your own office, you'll quickly find out that they don't really like us. They don't really like you. You were just riding on someone else's coattails. So I don't really know how to address that for people. That's your thing. Work it out. So we're gonna go ahead and get started tonight. Like I said, last week I was talking about people voting against their own interests. Some people are waking up. It's going to take a longer time for other people to wake up because they like the show. They like what's happening. They like seeing the secret police shoot people in the street, beat people up. They like to see other people's constitutional rights trampled on. They like it until it happens to them, because it does happen to them. I just heard today a lady, a Hispanic woman, who voted for Trump all 3 times. ICE attacked her and her daughters. She was representing, I think she was Cuban or Puerto Rican, but she's an American. She's a citizen. But she was attacked. She was Puerto Rican. She was attacked, and she presents white. But ICE attacked her, threw her on the ground. She was shocked. I don't know why she was shocked, but she's in Minneapolis. Why she was shocked, but I don't understand what people don't hear when they listen to Trump, because I've never heard anything good come out of his mouth, and it's getting more dangerous, and it's getting more dangerous every day. So do me a favor, if you're here and you want to help me grow this channel, please like, share, and subscribe if you have an opportunity or the inkling to do that. It will appreciate it. It will help me grow this channel and hopefully bring some more people on to talk about the situation. The topics of the day, and what's happening from my perspective and their perspective. I think it's good to have many of us as possible talking about these things and bringing more of us on board, and so we can try to try to get the other message out. Like, I don't know where they get it from, that we like open borders, or we like to cheat in elections, or we're trying to bring foreigners into the country so they can stay in power, or being woke is bad. I've been woke all my life. I'm gonna stay woke. So these people I have around the screen. These people, these are all the people that have been murdered by ICE. I have some updates on that. Everybody's probably heard, but I'm gonna update it for myself. So basically, the people we have up there: Keith Porter, his murderer is unknown. Renee Cole Good, he was murdered by Jonathan Ross. These are all secret police. Murdered by Jonathan Ross. He's in the wind. Nobody knows what's going to happen with that. He just disappeared, him and his wife. We saw them being taken away by other people of ICE, so we don't know if they'll ever be brought to justice. I know his GoFundMe did well over $1 million. We have billionaires that decided to put $10,000 into that fund, and that fund got to be $1 million. So he was paid very well for that murder. We have Alex Preddy, who was murdered and shot by 2 Customs and Border Patrol. And the weird thing, Customs and Border Patrol should have never been brought into this situation, because they aren't really trained. None of them should be actually in this. None of them should be in the situation at all, because what they're doing is not what they do. What they're supposed to be doing is enforcement and customs enforcement and Customs and Border Patrol, right? So, Customs and Border Patrol is definitely a paramilitary organization. They guard the border on the south of the border, also north too. But the south of the border is a mess, right? It's not I'm not gonna say it's a mess, but I'm gonna say it's dangerous because of the drug cartels, because drugs are illegal, and there's profit in it because America has a big appetite for drugs. So you can make millions and billions of dollars bringing drugs into the United States, and so we have a dangerous border down there, and it's the job of Customs and Border Patrol to guard that and try to not allow the drugs to come into the country and interdict that, and then to also look for people who are being brought through the desert by coyotes, the handlers, bringing people illegally across the border through the desert, dangerous situations. So they're actually saving their lives. A lot of them die out there without water. So they're down there, and they're handling a rough job. So they have to be kind of rough. And we got the names of those two guys. One guy's named Jesus Ochoa and Raimundo Gutierrez. The irony is not lost on me. These are two Hispanic gentlemen. They're actually. That's why I think this was a hit. If you've listened to the whole thing, there was a prior run-in with Alex Preddy and the Customs and Border Patrol. The run-in was, it wasn't violent. Alex he was angry at him, so, and he kicked out a tail light, spilling the truck. I'm non-violent, so to me that's a bit much, but you know what I'm saying? Whatever he did, it wasn't a murder charge. It probably was a misdemeanor. I'm sure they would have tried to do a felony. He probably would have got out. I don't know. They didn't arrest him that day. They did jump on him, rough him up, break his ribs. He had that same pistol that he legally carries in his waistband. So the pistol was there. They had to have seen it because they tore his coat off, or had his coat up. You could see the pistol, but he didn't grab it. They didn't grab it. They decided to leave and leave him there. They didn't arrest him that day, which is another strange situation because he did property damage, but they broke his ribs, so I don't know. So they all piled in the truck and left. They were dressed in their combat gear, riding through the city. Because Minneapolis is now an occupied city, basically. It's getting very, very dangerous and scary how what's happening down there. So I'm going to talk about a couple current events before I go into what I wrote about this week, which is the secret police. How ICE has been turned into a secret police for this regime. So let's see. I talked about the two agents the Customs and Border Patrol agents that shot Alex Preddy multiple times. He was already disarmed. They murdered him. And then I'm talking about the 5-year-old Liam. He's going on his way. He's back in Minneapolis. They took him and his father to Texas for deportation, I believe. But he was in the country illegally. He was documented. He was here for asylum. He came in the right way. He applied for asylum before he came into the country. And he was here going through the process to be granted probably either temporary protected status or asylum. Hopefully be a green card. Permanent resident. But anyway, it didn't matter because they will just take anyone because they have quotas. And they have quotas, they have beds to fill, and they're going to do anything to keep Stephen Miller happy with what they're doing. So with that, he's back home. He's well. We're happy for that. In Texas, in the detention center in Texas, there is a measles breakout. That's very dangerous. Measles is supposed to be gone. This is another thing that we're dealing with this Maga group. They decided they don't like vaccinations. The theory is that vaccinations cause autism, but we heard from the president through the health director, whoever he is, HHS, I don't know, that Robert F. Kennedy. We heard from him that they solved the problem with autism, and it's the Tylenol. So I don't know why we can't just go back to getting vaccinations. So we're having a measles outbreak, and the reason that I think it's pretty dangerous to be in the detention centers is because the detention centers are in terrible places. We don't really know. Every time we hear about something from a detention center, it's not good, and we're not getting the entire picture of what's happening in the detention centers because they are not allowing the congressmen to go in. They're breaking the law. It's pretty much just break law. It's pretty much the Constitution doesn't exist. It's a reference, and the only time it's a 50-50 chance if they go into court to fight a constitutional violation, they probably may not. They may say they're going to comply with it, but they probably won't comply with it. This is the most outlaw group of people that I've ever seen in my life in office. They have no regard for law. I think the law that they respect is the law of power. So if you can make them do something, they'll do it. If you can't make them, they're not going to do it until it seems like they have to. They don't care about their approval ratings. They don't care about none of that. None of that at all. But I keep coming to the question of what has made the people happy in MAGA. Why are they still on board with this? It has to be the violence. Because I can't name, the economy's in bad shape. Our image around the world's in bad shape. Our relationships with our allies are in bad shape, and the only one that's really doing well is the president. The president's making a killing. He's making a killing. He's making billions, billions and billions of dollars, while we make nothing. Also in the detention center this week, a young man by the name of Alberto Castaneda Mondragon, I hope I said that correctly. He was taken to the hospital from the detention center with his skull broken. His skull was broken in a lot of different places, and they said he ran into a wall. The people there said it was one of the nurses said it was laughable because there's no way you can run and do that much damage to your skull. It's like I don't know. It seems to me he would have to be either drunk or high or fell off a cliff and hit the thing to break his skull like that. But that's what they said. Take it with a grain of salt. We probably won't hear anything else about that. He's still alive. He didn't die, but his skull was cracked. So, also the Congress have been denied to go there. They have oversight responsibilities to go into, since the money was appropriated through Congress. Congress has the right to go into a detention center at any given time. They've been denying them access, saying that this is not gonna make any sense because it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I think all this when you have these kind of tricks, they all come from one person, which is Stephen Miller. I think he looks like the evil tricks guy. You know what I mean? Like he really studied the policies and try to find the best ways around them. But then they're all illegal though. You know. So basically, they're saying that Congress didn't give them the money, so they don't have to let Congress in. But I don't know how they can get money without Congress giving them to them, since in the Constitution, Congress has the appropriation. They're the ones who appropriate money to fund the government. So there's no other way that I know of legally to get money to run the detention centers. They're saying this. They said so anyway, they got that hashed out in court. But they don't really follow laws, so they probably won't let people in. And just one more thing I want to talk about that's just came out recently. We already know they raided the Fulton election office and took all the 2020 ballots. I probably talked about that last week, but the 2020 election was like 60-something court cases, all came back. But the Jared Dementia leader in the White House is saying that he actually won the 2020. He won all the states that were flipped blue in his mind, and it's a shame, but he should have seized the ballots back then. And now, just today, in an interview with the ex-deputy FBI director Bonvino, on his back, he's back doing his podcast because there's more money in that for him. He's back doing that, and he was on a radio show with him. Trump openly said that he believes that they should nationalize the election in 15 states, the ones that he think he's going to lose. So, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, the Constitution is clear, but like I said before, they don't want to follow the Constitution. They've already told him he's tried to do executive order where he tried to an executive order to ban mail-in voting, early voting. All that got struck down because the states is spelled out explicitly in the Constitution that the states have the right, or the states control the elections. It's the state elections. The federal government, through Congress, I think they can do some things through that, but the president has does not have any right or a legal means to interfere with the elections. But he's already stated that he doesn't understand why all the Republicans don't want to nationalize the elections and take it over into 15 states because all those people lie because he won those states. That man he has dementia. There's no way you could tell me anything else. If he believes that, I know he's a liar and a con man, but he says it with conviction. It's just like the thing with the tariffs. Like, I don't know if he actually believes that the exporter pays a tariff, not the importer. Or is he just saying that? But I think he actually believes that. So I don't know. There's no legally. There's no legal means for the president to nationalize the elections. That's why the Republicans won't sign on to it, because it'll be illegal and it'll be thrown out. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that, because that's pretty much going to be it. If he tries to nationalize the elections, he's going to have to go. And we'll see how that's handled. But because he's already going to lose. I mean, every election, special election, comes back and places in Texas are flipping blue. And it's like anybody with any common sense knows that right now, if you don't want to live in a dictatorship under a secret police force that has the ability to, and now they're saying that they can come into, yeah, I saw that. Now they're saying that they just can come into they are allowed to just arrest anyone and everyone at any given time. And that doesn't make any sense, because that brings me up to the essay that I wrote, and it was about the secret police. Like, when did ICE become America's secret police? We've never had a secret police, and I do have some videos to share with that, because this was when they first started. We saw them moving kind of strangely, and the ICE. I guess it didn't exist till 2003, something like that, right? It didn't exist in its current state till like 2000. There wasn't any DHS till after 911, and then we had the Patriot Act, and everyone got paranoid, and then that's when they decided to bring all the different organizations, all the different what you call, like Border Patrol and immigration enforcement, all under, and the Coast Guard. Those are the three. Those are the big main three. Anyone dealing with any policing from a federal level, except for the FBI, policing of or keeping what they call the homeland safe, that's when DHS was formed. That's how DHS that's how DHS was started. So I didn't know that, and since they kept hyping up and I don't know who came with this evil plan. It came out of the Heritage Foundation. But I don't know who specifically thought that in their mind, like, hey, you know what we could do? We could get a lot of money to DHS, and then DHS can grow ICE, and then ICE can run around the country in mass, because we need to do a mass deportation plan. And then once we go into the state with mass deportation plans, we can put all the people who work as ICE thugs, put them in masks, because they may be doxxed, right? Local police they can be doxxed too, but I guess if you're going to be breaking the law and be a secret police, then you want to wear masks, right? That's where because you don't want to be doxxed. So, so the purpose of ICE, I wrote this in my essay. I wrote for the purpose of ICE, and I'll read you the mission statement. I think it's good to start from there. This is the mission statement: to protect America through criminal investigations and enforcing immigration laws to preserve national security and public safety. And then the vision statement is DHS's premier law enforcement agency, mitigating transnational threats and safeguarding our nation, right? Communities, law enforcement, immigration, trade, travel, and financial systems, right? Now, out of that mission statement, and then that vision, I don't know how we got to the point where they're going down the street. Because like I said, like I wrote a thing, like we don't really, as Americans, like we've never really thought about having to carry our, and that was the argument when we first started this, like we don't have to carry our IDs and present them, show our papers like they did in Germany. We don't get that. We don't, and also probably in Russia or Berlin, East Berlin. We don't get that because we're just Americans. This is our country. This is our home. We were born here. The only time that we actually have to really show anything is if we're speeding, probable cause, suspicion. Then the police will have the right to ask you for your ID and deal with you accordingly, but not walking down the street. We never had to do that. So I don't really know. So I don't really know how they came to this, other than it was on purpose. Because we already know, or you should know, that you should know that I don't know what I'm going to say. I lost my train of thought. But you should know this. I'm going to play a video. I'm going to come back. But you should know that ICE wasn't supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to be able to just enjoy your life in this country without having to deal with the police, right? I don't know, some devious person came up and saw a loophole in ICE's mission, and how the mission of ICE could be broadened. Like, if you're going to do a mass deportation effort, you're going to lie to the people and tell them that in order for us to do this mass deportation, first they promised that it was going to be the criminals, the bad ones, but then they said it's going to be a mass deportation, and then it's going to come into your neighborhoods, and then start deporting people that you know, people that you work with and that are here legally. They may have told you that they have to go to court for some things to get some things straight. Some people are here on visas for an IT. I work with a lot of people in IT, so they were often here on visas. They need sponsorship, and they have to keep working because they would be concerned about if they don't get another job quickly, they may be asked to leave and things like that. So there was never going to be enough people or enough bad people to deport, right? So when did they come up with this plan? I really want to know, when did they decide to? When did they come up with the idea that we can grow ICE into being a secret police force, because they all through the first time, I've never seen ICE run around without masks. I've seen Customs Border Patrol when they were doing stuff down there on the border in some documentaries. Got to understand that, right? It's very dangerous dealing with cartels, right? But in the city of Minneapolis, in the city of DC, in the city of Philadelphia, it's not dangerous for ICE to be doing what they were doing before, which is doing investigations for people who don't show up for their court dates, reporting to, let's say, when someone gets locked up, reporting to a jail to pick them up. That was no big deal. They did that all the time. They would pick you. That was probably didn't even need a gun most of the time. They just would pick somebody up and take them, put them on a plane, take them to the detention center, probably in Texas, put them on a plane, they would go. But what they did was they put the mass deportation plan in effect, and then decided that they will need to protect the officers because the people would start attacking them. Now, they had to come up with this. They had to think this through, because they asked for $75 billion. So, and I also know that it's also a money grab, because we also know Tom Homan and his friends already knew that money was coming and they would need detention centers. So they were getting ready for that. That's the money grab part. But the enforcement part was the insidious part to me, because someone knew ahead of time that this was possible. This was possible that we could co-opt ICE and make them our secret police. And now they're here, and now they want more money. So that's for me, basically, that's a non-starter, right? Because that needs to be stopped. And the only person that I've seen go at this correctly is my man, Bernie. Bernie, what's his name? Bernie Sanders. The senator, right? I think he's a senator. Yeah, he's the only one who's wrote a bill. I think he's a senator. Yeah, he wrote a bill to actually claw back the money, because they need to defund ICE and abolish it, because there's no the culture is all messed up. There's no first of all, people aren't really being trained correctly. But we already know that doesn't matter, because the people that have killed people, that from the names that we know, are veterans. They've been trained. They've been on the job for a while. So they either knew how to kill people, have done it before and get away with it, or they just got scared, but they've been on the job for a long time. It was people probably were thinking it was the new people, the untrained ones, but it's the trained ones that have killed people. So if, like, right now, it's the whole thing about we can't really trust. I don't think the Democrats in Congress, the senators, the Senate leadership, or the House leadership understands how dangerous this is and how to actually deal with it. People want ICE abolished. They don't want ICE. There's no training. There's no retraining ICE. You have to start over. And I'm not saying that the immigration enforcement deportations have to stop, but what's happening in our cities, which has nothing to do with immigration, right? Has nothing to do with immigration. This is intimidation. He's already talked about nationalizing the elections. So this is about intimidation, staying in office, staying in power, and staying out of jail for them, right? I think once you realize at a point that, oh wow, I've broken a lot of laws, and I probably may end up in jail. So whatever I need to do to stay out of jail, I've never been through this. Whatever I need to do to stay out of jail, I need to do that. So that's why and Trump, for some reason, likes to talk out loud. If he's playing, like, he took the ballots, and I really don't. I'm waiting for this one. Whatever they got, I'm waiting for this one, right? What kind of charge whatever they're gonna say. They're gonna feel the need to do anything they can do to stay out of jail, right? So it's gonna be anything goes up in 2026, because it's already, the tea leaves are pretty much been read, man. The writing's on the wall, man. It's over. It's gonna be over. The house is gonna flip. There's no way that people, because I do notice the fact that even online and social media, there's less and less Maga, right? Like I said, I don't really see any Maga in my feed, but there seems to be less and less people jumping in comments. Maybe I'll start reading a lot of comments, but there's less and less people jumping in comments, talking negatively, And there's a lot more people, like I said, my other one who are going to be coming out of who are losing the vision of, I don't know what the vision was, and I've pretty much decided that MAGA doesn't stand for anything. There's no drive. There's no drive to anything better that MAGA wants. All they want to do is just, because he hasn't done anything for them. All they want to do is like see violence and see the show. They're in it for the reality show aspect of it. And then because they don't believe in anything, he hasn't done anything for them. The economy's not better. The economy's not better. Healthcare is not better. There's nothing better. The taxes aren't better. And so there has to be something holding them. And to me, what's holding them is the reality show part of it. They still get to feel that they're part of something, and that something is MAGA, and I don't really know what that means because it shifts back and forth. Because before they were really upset about pedophiles, they were really upset about pedophiles, right? They were upset about pedophiles because it was deep state, it was the Democrats, it was Hillary Clinton, and we had one. I'm in D.C. It's cold up here in the DMV, and the Pizzagate. The guy came up here went to the pizza parlor on Connecticut Avenue, looking for the basement with a gun, looking for the kids. So they don't like pedophilia. They don't like pedophiles, unless their man is, because he's now. I mean, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm not calling that man a pedophile at all. Allegedly, I don't know. But his name is really popping up a lot in the documents of the Epstein files. They released the files. They released some files they didn't mean to release, and there's some heavy allegations against him, right? Of course, he doesn't show that he's ever been to Epstein Island, but they weren't always at Epstein Island. Sometimes they were in New York, they were in Florida. You know what I mean? Like there are plenty of times to react, and for somebody who keeps saying they weren't friends and didn't really know each other very well, and he asked him to leave Mar-a-Lago because he stole the massage girl. His name is all in the file. So, and I do. Oh, his name's all in the file. And I'm gonna do one more thing about the Epstein file before I leave this. Right? There was a tip called in on Jay-Z and Pusha T and Harvey Weinstein all together. Right? Those three: Jay-Z, Pusha T, Harvey Weinstein on the island, and. Like when I first heard it, I'm like, that's crazy. Then I look it up. Then I see the thing. I'm like, oh, this is just a tip. This is crazy. What are you talking about? These were little guys. They were young in the 90s when it was accused. It was young. They weren't even stars at that time. And I'm trying to see like Harvey Weinstein. Like, can you see Jay-Z? I'm like, but a lot of black people, a lot of my people in hip hop, they want to believe everything bad about Jay-Z and Pusha T. They want to believe everything bad about them. And they're like, oh yeah, they got him now. Even 50 Cent, they got him now, right? He's in the file. And I'm like, how do you listen to the music of someone and really vibe with it and think that if they wrote that music, that they could do that? The same as when Jay-Z got accused with the lawyer who wanted to try to sue him because they said he picked up a girl at a award show in New York, him and Diddy. And they described it, and everybody said, well, that's impossible. There's no houses like that in New York. And it's like, and then Jay-Z said, you know what? I'm going to sue you back, prosecute me, call the police on me. And then that just went away. It was like, it didn't happen, right? But I'm like, what do y'all stand for? You know what I mean? What do y'all stand for? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not stand for nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you're ready to throw somebody on a bus, but you supported Nicki until she showed you she was nothing. So it's like, what do y'all stand for? I think we have a black MAGA too. We have black MAGA in our midst too. Everybody on our team is not all together there either. For a long time, I knew Nicki wasn't all there from the very beginning. Actually, I knew when she dropped that first album and it was more pop than hip hop. I'm like, something's up. And from that point on, I just pretty much just dialed her out. It's just like I could see like she's really like trying to, play a part other than just be a rapper. And well, I wish her well. So we're dealing with a situation where the people on his team, the MAGA people, don't stand for anything. And I seriously believe it, because now they don't believe in MAGA. They don't believe in the Epstein files anymore. Now they're okay with pedophiles. They're okay with it. They're fine. Just don't take our man down. And that's where we are. And what we're going to do, what's going to happen, I don't really understand what's going to happen with the secret police now. I think we need to think about the whole DHS thing. I was kind of against it. I felt nervous about DHS when it first was formed. I don't know if it's like some kind of thing, intuition I have, anything like that, but you say Homeland Security, I say that could go bad, right? That could go bad, because basically if you try to protect the homeland with a group of people, pretty soon they may start looking at people in the homeland as enemies. And here we are, right? A secret police was formed out of the Homeland Security. Also, we have to deal with Planeteer because of the Patriot Act. And if you have not paid attention to that, that's even scarier than what's happening with the secret police, because of the tools they're developing. They're developing tools. And you remember, I think it was a Black Mirror. It was a Black Mirror. I haven't played one video, have I? I'm sorry. There's a Black Mirror episode where you had a score. Right? It follows you around. You had a score, and if it gets bad, they can just mute you. They're doing that here, where the app is coming out where your house will have a little note over it. It'll say who you are. It'll tell you about your security risk, your credit risk, all that. They're mapping out who we are, and they can just hold a camera. We already seen this being done in Minneapolis with the secret police, where they're being able to hold the camera in front of you, take your picture, and then get your information and tell you where you live. That's dangerous as hell. And we already know that police cannot be trusted, and especially these guys, they can't be trusted. I don't know who told them that. They keep telling them they don't have to really pay attention to the Constitution or constitutional rights, because they own everything, and the only way we're going to get this back is the next election. And he's already working to. I gotta see how that's going to work, though. That's interesting. How he's going to try to just nationalize the election. They're going to try to change the Constitution. All right, first video. This video is from 7 months ago, and it's basically laying out what's happening right now. 7 months ago.
The term secret police invokes a kind of haunting specter when you hear it. When we see representations of secret police in the movies or in history, we immediately identify it with a certain kind of regime, one that tramples people's liberty with no accountability. We associate it with authoritarian governments and dictatorships like the Soviet Union, where people, usually armed, can wield the authority of the state but are themselves totally unaccountable in the same way. So whatever issues there are with American policing, and there are many, many of which we've covered here, at least our police officers have names on their uniforms and badge numbers. Now, in the Trump-Stephen Miller era of immigration and renditioning, one cannot help but notice in clip after clip, in interaction after interaction, that the people enacting these raids have all the qualities you associate with the concept of secret police. They are usually masked, hiding their faces, and either wearing plain clothes or irregular uniforms. They won't give their names or say what agency they're with. Watching it, it feels wrong and weird and alien and menacing, like an irregular paramilitary operation or people gathering to rob a bank, as one observer said. It does not feel like law enforcement officials subject to the authority of a democratic government. It's so striking in scene after scene. You see regular people asking masked agents, who are you? What part of the government are you from? What are you doing?
Pause 1 second, because
we saw something like that in one of the first videos made public, the arrest of Columbia student and lawful resident Mahmoud Khalil, where plainclothes officers apprehended him in the lobby of his building and pointedly refused to identify themselves or who they were with.
That has to be one of the most helpless feelings ever, to have masked people walk up to you and just lock you up, and you ask, who are you? And they won't tell you. They have guns, right? They have guns. There's more than one. In my area, you fight because they're going to kill you. But this is, what are you going to do? They're going to tell you they're federal agents, and they may show you a badge or something like that, or you may notice something on a vest, and they may seem official, but you never really know if they're official or not. That's never been our country.
Can we get a name, please? Can we get your name? I understand the lawyer is asking for your name.
Listen.
Over there. No, we don't give our name.
The lawyer's asking for your name. He's saying they don't give their names.
We don't give our name, that man said, after handcuffing and detaining a legal resident
told
of this
them that?
country. Not long after that, we got this infamous video of the arrest of Tufts graduate student Ramesa Ozturk. She was
scary.
snatched off the street by masked agents and led away in handcuffs. Also in Massachusetts, there was this chilling scene from last month where masked agents apparently refused to provide a warrant before breaking a car window and forcibly removing a man that they say was in the country illegally.
Do you have a warrant for arresting this man?
Kevin, you're here illegally.
And please understand, most of these people aren't in the country illegally. They're documented or undocumented, but they're not. Most of them aren't here illegally. And then if you cross the border the first time, it's a misdemeanor. It's a civil charge. It's not a felony. It doesn't require that action, what they're doing right there.
That's all I need to establish.
I need to see a warrant.
They don't do that.
You have masked men taking people, abducting people without a warrant, without IDs.
Just last weekend, this was seen in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, where again, masked agents detained an apparently undocumented gardener at his place of work, all while his employers asked questions. Why are you doing this? In San Diego, same weekend, residents managed to hold back what appeared to be
This is 7 months ago.
heavily armed, militarized agents who were reportedly just executing an immigration raid on a local business and several local businesses. And we've also got these stories of all kinds of really unsettling lies, manipulation, subterfuge. So eyewitnesses in Tucson, Arizona, saying that agents posed as city utility workers as part of an arrest attempt. There's been reports of agents gaining access to homes under the guise of performing wellness checks on children. All this feels like something distinct from the normal forms of policing and law enforcement you're used to. As the writer M. Gesson, who was born in the Soviet Union, put in a recent column for the New York Times, the United States has become a secret police state. Trust me, I've seen it before. Adding, the citizens of such a state live with a feeling of being constantly watched. They live with a sense of random danger. Anyone, a passerby, the man behind you in line at the deli, the woman who lives down the hall, your building super, your own student, your child's teacher, can be a plainclothes agent or a self-appointed enforcer. This administration is treating people as if they have no rights, as if they can be rounded up at a whim, as if they don't get to have any kind of due process or have to show cause or get warrants. That is the legal theory of Stephen Miller, that immigrants in this country do not have rights, even though very clearly that's not true.
That we have rights either.
The Constitution is clear on this in its plain text in the 14th Amendment, for instance. The precedent is clear on this. Even Supreme Court justices, as conservative as the late Antonin Scalia, have been clear on this. Immigrants have constitutional rights. They have due process rights. But the Trump administration and Stephen Miller believe the state can do whatever it wants to these people. Now, we should note Trump's border czar Tom Homan says the agents are wearing masks for their own safety.
That's not their job. They don't.
And why they're wearing masks? They're
safety?
wearing masks because they're trying to protect themselves and their families. Agents are getting doxxed every day. Their pictures and phone numbers being put on telephone poles. These leftists are following and filming when they go home from work at night.
So everybody who doesn't agree with them
about
is a
these
leftist.
recent ICE crackdowns, Assistant Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said, under Secretary Noem, we are delivering on President Trump's and the American people's mandate to arrest and deport criminal illegal aliens and make America safe.
All right, so that's where we were 7 months ago. It's gotten worse since then, right? Because I'm gonna play the second video and show you where we're at now. Because now they're also a paramilitary force, and they're acting as if they're a paramilitary force occupying a hostile country or area that they must subdue. It is not about immigration. It never was about immigration. It's about control of this entire country.
I was looking at photos from federal operations in Minneapolis over the last week, and this one picture stood out. Tayana Gibson Brown is standing in the doorway, obviously in distress. She's wearing what appears to be
going to
scrubs.
Work.
She has Crocs on, and she's holding her phone in her hand. These agents are basically
Look how they come
dressed
into her house.
for an imminent threat. There were pieces of equipment on these agents, weapons that seemed more at home on the battlefield, and here they were on the doorstep of a woman's house in Minneapolis. They cover gun culture and policy. Before that, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years and deployed twice to Afghanistan. With the last 20 to 25 years.
What I think is strange about this is why is it that
technology that was used.
Sorry, me. 1 second. Why is it that the soldiers who were in the military, who were in wars, in battle, are looking at these guys and saying, "Why are y'all acting like this?" Because they wouldn't do it. They don't do it. They understand what they're doing is. They were overseas in Iraq and Iran, not Iran. I'm sorry. Well, they'll be in Iran soon, but in Iraq and Afghanistan, they were there knowing that they would have to kill people, and they may be killed. What's the rationale in this country to go to someone's house? There's no criminal warrant. This is immigration. This is not an immigration thing anymore.
Used in those wars has kind of migrated into the police force. In this photo, there are two suppressors, and a suppressor, also commonly known as a silencer. That was something that just kind of jumped out to me. They protect your hearing, they protect you from concussive blasts coming out of your rifle. This is something you would want to have on the end of your rifle barrel if you are in a house shooting in close quarters. When I was in the military, we were on the front line, and we had wanted suppressors for my team, but they weren't deemed important enough at the time. This kind of stuff is usually reserved for SWAT teams, hostage rescue teams, high threat environments.
So they're playing.
One of the
they're doing
things that is
cosplay.
interesting on two of these rifles is this thing called the B.E. Myers Maul. It's a daylight laser and an infrared laser that only you can see behind night vision. Things maybe you'd consider when you were jumping out of a helicopter into bin Laden's compound in Pakistan in 2011. It's that kind of technology juxtaposed with the doorstep. Video from the scene kind of showed a disorganized mess with a lot of yelling.
There is kids in this house. Show the warrant first.
But I think that's kind of par for the course when you have people who are on the street opposed to operations, you have people in the house who are scared, and you have agents who are heavily armed. The agent arrests her husband. 4 days later, he was ordered to be released as his Fourth Amendment rights had been violated.
See, that's the thing, though. This is a game to them, right? The guy was in there and he was let out 4 days later. Did they have a violent? They're immigrations, right? Was there now the police could have probably went in and knocked on the door and just brought him out, right? But they have to go in with combat military style weapons. I don't know. I'm not a gun guy. I'm not a gun guy. So with heavy military automatic weapons. As if they're getting ready to take down bin Laden or a terrorist. Did they have a notice that he was a terrorist, or what? That they're playing a game, but the game has had deadly consequences, and it's only going to get worse the closer we get, because they know most of them are probably very stupid, but a lot of them have to know that what they're doing is wrong. And there's probably a good chance that if their faces are identified, they're going to be brought into a court and charged with a charge, man. Like you violated someone's foot. Violating constitutional rights is a crime. It's illegal, and there's penalties that are gonna come. He got off. The guy, whatever he's in there for. I don't know what they didn't go into what they were. They couldn't have been a good. He got off on the Fourth Amendment, right? So whatever he was charged with, it couldn't have been It couldn't have been much, because they sent him back home in 4 days, right? So that's where we are. We have a secret police force. Maga stands for nothing. They have no beliefs other than They believe in they believe it's hate and racist, but they believe in nothing of principle. They're not receiving anything from this president. He's trying to steal as much money as he can and take as many rights as he can, and now he's going to try to steal an election, which makes no sense to me because it's the midterm. He's not even running, but he doesn't want the House to flip. That's basically that'll be his mission. For blue states, I mean, but it's going to be more than just some blue states that are going to flip. It's going to be a lot of states that flip blue. So, as they get more and more desperate, because the system that they're setting up is very dangerous, very deadly, and very wrong, and very illegal, and the time is running out. The first year, they were having fun. You remember Doge and the cabinet meetings? They're having fun. They're laughing at things and how much money they saved through Doge, and Elon Musk in the Oval Office high, wearing a baseball cap, just having a good time. But now the good time's over. The Epstein files are out. CEOs are being let go. People are losing their jobs, big jobs on CBS. It's like a lot of stuff is coming out, and it's all wrapped up. And these things are the things that MAGA wants to happen. As they happen, they say no, they don't want that no more. They don't care about that anymore because they stand for nothing. All right, man, I'm out. Yeah, I'll be back. So yeah, I'll be back. Like I said, I post on my Substack every couple of days, my essays, all the show notes from the bottom. I don't know when I'll be back. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about next. I'm gonna figure it out. Like I said, I won't really come on if I don't have anything to say. There's just a lot going on. But just understand, like we do have a secret police now. If you have to deal with them, there's a chance that there's nothing you really could do to get out of it, basically. If they want to take you, they're going to take you. And if you be violent, they're going to get more violent with you. So there's no protection like I'm a citizen. There's none of that. Just try to make it through or try to avoid them. That's my thing. Luckily, they haven't been here yet, so I don't know. I'm in a blue state. We'll see. All right, peace. Stay safe, and I'll holler at you next time.